Today we're going to take a closer look at 5 mysterious things that science simply can't explain, and you're gonna want to stick around for number 1. Why is that? Well, let's be honest here. You probably haven't heard of it before. Maybe you have. Well, you won't know till you check it out, everybody. Number 5. Rat Kings. Over the past 200 or so years, we have learned an unprecedented amount about the creatures we share this planet with. From gigantic creatures of the deep to cave-dwelling catfish, it seems that Mother Nature never runs out of surprises. But sometimes just because we discover something doesn't mean that we understand it. A strange phenomena involving rats was first described in 1564. According to the report, a group of black rats were discovered who had apparently become lightly bound together by their tails. Of course, most people assumed that perhaps it was the work of some cruel local youths. They figured that it would either be an isolated incident or perhaps it would happen a bunch. But surely, when the mischievous youths reached adulthood, that would be the end of it. After all, the world was a much different place in 1564. But despite being rare, these sadistic clusters of rats continue to show up all over the world, and no one could figure out why. Soon, people began to assign significance to these knotted clusters of rats, which soon became known by the regal name of Rat Kings. People began to regard the discovery of a rat king as an omen of forthcoming plague, and surely this would have probably seemed true at the time. After all, rats often carried with them fleas, who were the primary carriers of the plague. Since rat kings were rare, if there were enough rats in an area to create a rat king, then there would also presumably be enough to spread plague-ridden fleas. For some people, this was enough, and rat kings became almost a thing of legend for several centuries. Furthermore, black rats, who were long considered a pest species, were being systematically eradicated at the same time as public healthcare and sanitation were improving. So, of course, the decrease in plague and the decrease in rat kings became irrevocably linked. Then came modern science and, well, guess what? This phenomena still couldn't be explained. What researchers have been able to confirm is that it occurs primarily in black rats, while some isolated incidences have been reported in forest mice, and in 2018 a group of squirrels were freed from a similar knot by workers at the Wisconsin Humane Society. Seeing as the rats in these knots almost always succumb to starvation and an agonizingly painful end, researchers have dismissed claims that it is a method for sharing body heat. But they are still no closer to an answer as to why this dark and strange phenomena occurs. Number 4. LONGYOU Grottoes. Nowadays we think nothing of building massive stadiums to seat tens and thousands of screaming fans. But once upon a time, these feats were unheard of, and even where mass structures existed, such as the Colosseum in Rome or the Great Pyramids, they were heralded as huge accomplishments, and thoroughly documented throughout history. But then there are the LONGYOU Grottoes, an incredible feat of early engineering that no one even knew existed until 1992. That was when a group of farmers began draining several small ponds in a nearby village, but that proved harder than expected, and they soon realized that it was part of something much larger than they could have ever imagined. After a little bit of investigation, they discovered that they had stumbled upon 5 large man-made underground caverns. Soon the discovery caught the attention of experts who, upon further investigation, unearthed a total of 19 massive caverns. But these caverns were far from being simple holes in the ground. They turned out to be stunning architectural wonders long hidden from human eyes. Despite having been filled with water for hundreds of years, each grotto exhibited amazing structural integrity, and none of them appeared to be interconnected. They were also massive, averaging 11,000 square feet each and boasting ceilings nearly 100 feet tall. The expanse of all 19 grottos covered nearly 320,000 square feet of land. The sheer size and the impeccable condition that they were found in are impressive enough, considering expert suspects that the structures are nearly 2,000 years old and predate the Qin dynasty. But perhaps the most shocking detail about them is that no trace of their construction or even their existence has been located in the historic record. Every other ancient structure known to man has been referenced in texts or anecdotally through legends and stories passed along from generation to generation. However, experts in China have been unable to find the slightest mention of this incredible structure, which in its time would have certainly served a vital purpose. While it is certainly rare to find a structure of this magnitude that has no historical explanation, it leads you to wonder why the existence of this grand place was left out of the history books in such a seemingly deliberate way. Perhaps it was the scene of great atrocities, or the site of an ancient secretive sect. While we may never know for sure what led to the LONGYOU grottoes vanishing from history, now that it has been rediscovered, it is one of China's most popular tourist destinations. Number 3. NAMPA Stone Doll. So much of what we have learned about the timeline of mankind has been learned through the recovery of ancient artifacts. These artifacts allow us to understand the attitudes, beliefs, and materials that were prevalent during different periods of mankind's evolution. However, sometimes these discoveries leave researchers with more questions than answers. That was the case when a NAMPA stone doll was unearthed. In 1889, a drilling team developing a water well in Nampa, Idaho was pumping drilling water out of a 300-foot deep hole when something more than water came out of their line. What they had discovered was this tiny stone figurine. While figurines like these were common among Native Americans during the 18th and 19th century, the depth at which it was found suggests that it is approximately 2 million years old. This would correspond with some of the very first members of the species which would eventually become Homo sapiens, or what we typically consider to be modern man. In short, if the early species walking the Earth 2 million years ago were developing sculptures of this intricacy, it would mean that everything we believe about mankind's timeline might be called into question. Because of its significance, experts have been arguing ever since about the origin of this doll. It is truly 2 million years old, as it is astronomically unlikely that it would have been the first of its kind discovered, and it is unlikely that the methods used to construct it would have been employed. On the other hand, if it isn't 2 million years old, it is almost impossible for it to have been buried 300 feet underground, unless it was deliberate. There are a few theories as to how it could have gotten there, among which is the idea that it may have descended through fissures in the earth. However, some deny this, and the only thing that can be said for certain is that no one knows for sure how it got there. Now it's time for the day's best pick. This image was sent to us by a subscriber just like you. If you want to see your favorite photo in a future video, send us any image or clip and we'll research it for an upcoming video. Number 2. Strange Skeletons. Today's picture is something truly special. Here we see unearthed remains of a human being alongside those of a very massive seahorse. This is one of few photos available at the discovery, and the science community has been tight-lipped on the remains, but it is safe to say that this is unlike any previous discovery. While there is no definitive information on the original source of this amazing picture, there are some things that we can deduce. The pair have obviously been there for quite some time, and just 100,000 years ago many species of animal were much larger, and humans were much smaller. In fact, the average healthy male was just over 5 feet tall. With this information, the size of the seahorse becomes easier to imagine, but just how did these two come to share a grave? It is entirely possible that massive flooding both brought the seahorse to land and simultaneously drowned the man. Furthermore, the position of the man's body suggests that he may have clung to the large fish to keep him from being pulled away by the floodwaters. What do you think is going on in this picture? Take a minute to let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. And guess what? If this video gets 5,000 likes, I'll bring you a collection of unbelievable creatures that walked alongside prehistoric humans. That's a promise.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
Number 1. SACSA YHUAMAN, who I'm pretty sure I just butchered that very, very badly. You've likely heard of the Incan people and the Mayans, but a lesser known ancient people are responsible for the number 1 entry on our list. The Kilki were a culture that inhabited parts of modern-day Peru between 900 AD and 1200 AD. They created many sites and concepts that would later be expanded upon by the much better-known Incan people. Among structures that started off as Kilki sites before being transferred to the Incan Empire is SACSA YHUAMAN. This fortified complex features design elements that are still impressive by modern standards. The first thing you might notice about it is the stunning stonework. Through methods that remain a complete mystery to this day, the ancient people fit thousands of stones together with astounding accuracy, like some kind of early human game of Tetris. These odd-shaped stones are carved with such precision that it is impossible to slip a piece of paper between them. The intricate lace of stone is something that we could only be able to accomplish today through the use of CNC technology. This type of precision would have been unimaginable even on smaller stones. But this is where the mystery of SACSA, I can't even pronounce that name, so just put it up there, editor, please, I love you. Deepen some of the stones. These stones are pictured are as tall as 28 feet and weigh a mind-blowing 200 tons. Even with modern technology, moving even one of those stones would require significant effort. Yet the Kilki moved thousands of them over vast distances, so long ago that the site also features writing thought to be over 30,000 years old. So this amazing complex seems almost unbelievable already. But believe it or not, this ancient site holds even more mystery. Beneath the sprawling place, there are two tunnels, one of which is open to the public and is a favorite attraction among tourists, but the other is closed to the public. The second, much longer tunnel is said to travel nearly 2 kilometers to Coricancha, the single most important temple in the ancient Incan Empire. The walk through the secret passageway probably would have taken approximately 20 minutes and may have been a last resort in the event of evacuation, or perhaps it was utilized to transport troops from one location to another covertly. The purpose of these tunnels, along with the unbelievable stonework, make this ancient complex a historic marvel. That's our video for today, folks. Which unexplained mystery was your favorite entry on the list? Tell me in the comments below and make sure you click on one of the videos on the screen to hear another amazing story. Later, everybody.